number 2 of Shut-In Storytime with me, librarian and writer Laura Preble. Today I'm going to read to you Enigma by Graehme. I'm sending this as a shout out to my friend Christine Rose in Portland, my fellow Cumber babe, and her boyfriend whose last name is Enigma. So this one's for you. Here we go. It's a great book. My son loved this book when he was little. My son, Austin. Noel. Sorry for that. I get him confused. Okay, here we go. Young Bertie Badger's grandpa was a conjurer of note, with magic spells and magic wand and magic hat and coat. A master of illusion, an ambassador of fate, the famous one and only world-renowned Gadzooks the Great. From London to the Spanish Steps, from Prague to Kathmandu, then on to the Antipodes and back through Timbuktu. For 50 years he'd wowed the crowds and roundly been admired. But now he lived a quiet life. Gadzooks the Great retired. These pictures are gorgeous. Graehme did the illustrations and the book, the writing. All right. His magic wand lay idle on the bookshelf by the door, his hat and cape beside it, neither worn much any more. For nowadays old Grandpa's tricks were saved for one alone, the grandson he adored so much, young Bertie Badgerstone. But on the day that Bertie came, the shadows leaped and twirled, and Grandpa Badger's living room became a different world. Gadzooks the Great was back again, and Bertie clapped and cheered as charms were laid and spells were cast and rabbits disappeared. One day, when Bertie came along to watch the magic show, he found old Grandpa waiting with a tale of grief and woe. "It looks as though our little show cannot go on," he said, "for someone has been up to tricks." He sadly shook his head. It seemed that all the residents had woken up that day to find their special magic props had somehow gone astray. "My top hat, cape, and wand have gone, but there is worse to tell. My precious magic bunny rabbits disappeared as well." "Don't worry," Bertie said at once. "I'll solve this, have no fear. For magic things that vanish almost always reappear. Until I find them, everyone, I swear I shall not rest." For Bertie hugged his grandpa and set off on his quest. Oh boy, look at that. Doesn't it look fun? I hope he finds it all. The first stop was the Bear of Wrath. His real name was Vlad. Apprenticed to a carpenter when he was just a lad. His special trick was sawing whole babushka dolls in two and magically repairing them without the aid of glue. Poor Vlad had lost a favorite doll he'd carved with loving care. Young Bertie couldn't find it, though he searched most everywhere. Bill Bison lived at number 2, a card sharp from the South. With shaggy head and shaggy beard and shaggy bison mouth, he'd cut the cards for years aboard the Santa Fe Express. With Lady Luck beside him, it was first class, nothing less. "I played the game, sometimes I lost, most other times I won. But now my Queen of Hearts is gone, my dealing days are done." The next stop was the monkey house. Young Bertie ventured in, and all at once felt giddy as his head began to spin. 3 cheeky rascals, experts on the jungle gym trapeze, swung wildly through the vines that hung in loops from all the trees. The monkey's trick involved a set of interlocking rings, but these were marked as missing on the list of magic things. Who doesn't love a magic monkey? I do. Now Bertie knocked at number 4, but silence reigned supreme. The door swung open soundlessly as if it were a dream, for this was where Miss Poodle lived, the Mademoiselle of Mime. And for an hour without a sound she acted out the crime. Though Bertie thought she'd lost her voice, why else the long charade? It turned out that her ball and cups had somehow been mislaid. Oh boy, this one's good. Miss Pollyanna Parapoop, the goddess of Caracas, was nothing if not colorful. She even played maracas. She wowed the Venezuelan club some 30 years ago, where every night your plumage and percussion stole the show. Her trick was reading minds, but now her own had gone astray. "Poor boy's lost to crackers," was the only thing she'd say. My dogs want to help. All right. Room 6 belonged to Human Flu, Lord Pandemonium, who'd picked up levitation from his flying panda mum. He once had raised the Chinese wall, a miracle, but then he dropped it on the emperor's foot and never worked again. His power came from 3 jade bells he kept beneath his gown, but now they were missing. All his spells came crashing down. Room 7 was a chamber filled with incense and perfume, adorned with rugs and swaths of silk that swept across the room. And here Mistress Hypnosis wove her magic ancient spell, possessed of an enduring charm that time could not dispel. Her powers of persuasion, once the wonder of the age, had failed her since her mystic sphinx of sleep had been mislaid. Ooh, she's pretty. Kind of looks like me. At number 8, our gallant badger nearly came to grief. The mystic Maharaja thought that Bertie was the thief. "So steal my magic rope, would you? I've met your type before. A toothless tiger I may be, but listen to my roar!" Our hero backed away in fright, but Grandpa heard the noise and saved him from becoming one of Tiger's torn-up toys. Wow. Pretty scary. Poor Bertie sat in Grandpa's room, the last one that was left, and knew the magic show was doomed. He'd failed to solve the theft. Old Grandpa sat there sadly. "Oh, I miss my long-eared friend. To think that all these years our show is at an end. We toured the world, we hit the heights, old floppy ears and I. A double act, a partnership." He sighed a heartfelt sigh. Then Bertie heard a snuffle and a muffled voice that said, "Don't cry." And Grandpa's rabbit crawled from underneath the bed. Look at that. Aww. "Enigma!" Grandpa cried with joy. "Enigma, is it you? I thought that you were gone for good. I can't believe it's true." He held him close and cuddled him while Bertie gave a cheer. "Now tell me all that happened, how you came to disappear." But as old Grandpa looked at him with fondness and relief, the rabbit hung his head in shame and whispered, "I'm the thief." The badgers both were lost for words. The thief, but how, but why? And so Enigma told them with a sniffle and a sigh. There he is. "For all my life, I've been the one who jumped out of the hat. I ask myself, why always me? What's good and fair in that? Just once before the curtain falls, could I not cast the spell? And wear the magic-hatted cape, and wave the wand as well? And so I took the magic things to help with my routine. The most amazing rabbit that the world has ever seen. And everything I borrowed just vanished in thin air. I hid them all so carefully I can't remember where." I even wrote a list. He held a sheet for them to see. It's all in secret code, but now I can't recall the key. Dear friend, said Grandpa kindly, what you say is only right. I've hogged the stage for long enough. It's time you had your night. And Bertie added, goodness knows there are these things go on, but now we have replacements. There's a show that must go on. He opened up his school bag with a cheeky badger grin. This bag has special powers. Who can say what lies within? Behold, I've got a magic wand, enchanted rope, 5 rings. There's everything we need, a brand new set of magic things. Gadzooks, said Grandpa. What a trick! His voice rang down the hall. My clever grandson is the best magician of them all. And so the magic show was saved. In fact, it hit new heights, and all of Grandpa's friends joined in, a magic night of nights. But best of all, the grand finale starring someone new, Enigma, the Incredible, and Magic Birdie too. That evening, heading homeward in the hush that nighttime brings, the grandpa and his grandson talked of wild and wondrous things. For magic doesn't lie in wands or funny hats to wear. It takes someone to dream and someone else to share. They journeyed on through mystic realms as great magicians should. Come visit soon, old Grandpa said, and Bertie said he would. Enigma. Sorry about the glitch in there. I don't know why it went black for a minute. Probably magic. Anyway, cheers.